Hello everybody and welcome back to another video here on the channel of Bedrock Charge. This is the 7th episode of Robincraft, and before we do get into it, please make sure to hit that like button down below. Also, I would very much appreciate it if you subscribed. It's impossible to express how much it would mean to me. I want to get to 250 subscribers by the end of summer, if that's possible, and it's only possible with you guys subscribing, so please make sure to hit that subscribe button. It would help out a ton. And anyways, at the start of today's episode, I wanted to start off by designing the underwater dimension. Now, as some of you know, last episode I plotted out where everything is going to be in my mega base on the Robincraft server. So yeah, I designed where everything is going to be and all of that, but I never designed any of these dimensions or sections of the base. So I wanted to continue my little streak of working on the mega base, my astounding 2-episode streak, and continue designing the mega base. So I am going to hop over to my creative build testing world and design the underwater dimension. And I really want this mega base to look cool, so I'm going to spend a long time trying to find out the perfect design, and then once I have a good design for the underwater dimension, I am going to meet up with you and share the design with you. Okay, so I am now at the design of the underwater dimension. So I have spent a few hours, 3 freaking hours, designing this thing. So hopefully it looks good. But anyways, just in case you were wondering, this is where to design my mega base. So yeah, I made a few modifications and put it into the Robincraft server. So I designed the whole underwater dimension here too. Anyways, I started with the front wall, and first we're going to look at the front wall. So, as I said briefly before, I'm going for the Poseidon's Palace sort of theme. So, as a block palette, I kind of chose some oceanic blocks, and then for the frames, I did more Greek blocks. So, as you can see, this is like a little bit of a Greek archway with the gold in the center, just to flex a little bit. I am going to be flexing a lot more throughout the mega base, trust me. But just as a little bit of starter, we're having a gold block in the Poseidon's Palace. Also, it looks quite nice. And yeah, so it kind of has an oceanic feel, as well as the Greek feel is kind of like in there. So they work well together, and it makes a Poseidon's Palace feel. Also, in case you're wondering, this is like a little bit of, because of the mega base's theme of the multiverse, I kind of decided that it would be nice, even though there is a divider, the purple stuff connecting all of the dimensions, I wanted the dimensions to kind of leak in. So as you can see, the forge fire is barely leaking into the underwater dimension. But anyways, for the floor, I kind of designed it I wanted to design it the perfect amount of subtleness. I don't want it to be too over the top, but I still want it to look nice. So I decided to have quartz bricks next to glass facing shroom lights, so that we have lighting as well as a pretty cool looking floor. Then I also designed the back wall to be kind of like the front, but a lot more subtler because we want it to feel like the back wall. And I think I did a pretty good job with this, hopefully. But anyways, I had this kind of like as a waterfall-ish design. Not really, but it kind of looks, I think it looks pretty cool because it's kind of imitating the front, like I said earlier, but it looks a little bit more like the back. And also, in case you're wondering, no, I did not forget about the side walls. I'm just keeping that as a secret. And as the ceiling, I have it following the same Poseidon's Palace sort of feel, but like I didn't want it to be just a big block, like I said in last episode, so I decided to have it more as like a dome, like a stretched out dome. But anyways, we are going to need to collect the materials to actually build this in Robincraft. So, I'm going to hop back over to the Robincraft server, and I'm going to meet you there, and we're going to get all of these materials. And it's a huge area, so we're going to need a lot. Like a lot. Okay, let's hop back onto the Robincraft. I am back on the Robincraft server, and also, basically, I have some bad news. So, I did all of the math, and I did all the calculations, found out what materials we need to do the underwater dimension. Which shouldn't be too much, right? It's just a little dimension. Only a little bit of the base, right? Not too much. Well, guess what? We need more than we can handle in today's episode. I'm just going to read off the list. We can get a bunch of these items, but there's something that we can't get. So, 18 stacks of copper ingots. We got a lot here already from mining out the area for the mega base. So that's good. We got that in today's episode. We can get that. 18 and a half stacks of glass. Okay, that's doable. We also got some glass left over. We can use that along with some more glass. We can get that easy. And then 4 stacks of concrete, also doable. 4 warped stems, very doable. 1 block of gold, also doable. And 10 warped fences. What's not doable, though, in today's episode, is 147 freaking stacks of quartz. Who decided that we needed 140 stacks of quartz? That's insane. That's absolutely insane. That's more than 2 double chests worth of quartz. Can you believe that? So we're not going to be able to get that in today's episode. So I'm going to extend that into next episode and do some of it in now too. But anyways, the first I had the idea because we have so much stuff we need to smelt because of our digging out of this area for the mega base. I'm just going to pop over and smelt all of it right now. Smelt everything that we need to while we are collecting the glass that we need. We're going to need a bunch of sand, so I'm going to pop over to the mining desert, and I'm going to put these into the furnaces first, and then I'm going to pop over to the mining desert. Okay, so I have put everything in the furnaces and have gotten all of the shovels that I'm going to need for the desert mining expedition. And I'm just gonna, and I also did all the measurements to see how much sand I need. So, because I need the sand for not only the glass in the underwater dimension, but also the concrete. So, that's so it's quite a bit of sand, 14 stacks, but I should be able to get it decently quickly. But anyways, I'm gonna hop over to the mining desert. I'm going to mine a bunch of sand, and then once I've done all of that, then we'll have all the sand we need for the underwater dimension. Okay, so I have mined out all of the sand that I needed from the mining desert, and now everything should be smelted. I'm gonna go back to the old base and see if everything's smelted, but it should all be smelted, and we should have all the sand that we need now. So I guess, what should we do next? The next thing I guess on the list would be I don't know. I guess copper ingots? So, yeah. I guess we just need copper now. Oh, jeez. How are we gonna get copper? I mean, we already have a decent amount of copper, but dang, that's actually kind of tough. How are we gonna get the rest? Guess we gotta go on a mining session. Okay, so yeah, I think what we're going to do for the copper is, we already have some over there, but I think what I want to do is we're going to have a little bit like kind of a setup like this, where we have the hopper going into the furnace, and I guess that would kind of work. And then we're just going to be smelting all of the sand like that. It's a little bit weird, but hopefully it should be decently functional. Question mark, question mark, question mark. But yeah, so this is all the sand we're going to need, which is quite a bit of sand. But anyways, I guess the only thing to do is put this in, and then we're going to hop over to a mining session. Okay, so Max just decided that he just wanted to help me. He just like appeared online, and then he was asking if he could help me mine. So I guess I'll help him. I mean, sure. I'll have all the help that I can get. You can help me mine some copper. Sure. Let's go for it. Okay, so I am back from the mining session, and now with a little bit of help from Max, we got all of the copper that we need. So that's not all of them. We also got over 3.5 stacks of iron, 57 blocks of coal, and just look at how much lapis we have. It's kind of crazy, because like lapis is really rare too. And we also got a mending book, which is really, really good. Like, that's extremely helpful that we have a mending book now. And also, before we went on the mining expedition, I enchanted my diamond sword, so now it has sharpness 3, looting 3, and sweeping edge 3, and there's 3 enchantments, all with 3. So that's very, very good. But now, since we had the mining expedition, we have a lot of stuff that we need to smelt. Thankfully, we have more than enough coal to make up for it, but we do have a lot of things to smelt. So I'm going to pop over to the starter base, and I'm going to pop everything that we need to into the not into the super smelter, just the furnaces. And we'll be smelting that while I gather all of the dyes. Okay, so I just remembered that I have a special plan for the dye. So, I may or may not have accidentally been dye collecting for quite some time and realized that, well, this process is going very slowly. I spent like 1.5 hours just getting that amount of corn flour. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to set up a little bit of a dye farm over at the location where corn flour spawn, and we're going to it should make it like insanely quick, because this in 1.5 hours is not gonna cut it, unfortunately. So I'll just build up the whole thing, and then hopefully and probably definitely we're going to be able to get all of the blue dye that we need for the underwater dimension. Okay, and now the farm is complete. So this should just make it a little bit easier to get all the rest of the blue dye that we need. And if I did everything correctly, hopefully this dye farm should actually work. I will put the link to the guy who made this in the description. It's a pretty good farm, and I recommend you watch the video. But here goes nothing. Oh my gosh, that's mad efficient. Holy cow! That's actually insane. Sorry, it's really, really loud, but wow. Okay, I'm gonna stay here and collect the rest of the dye that we need, and then I'll meet you once we have all the dye. Okay, so finally, after quite a bit of time, I have all the dye that we need. It's quite a bit of dye. So it's 13 stacks of blue dye, 3.5 stacks of light blue dye, and 2.5 stacks of cyan. It's a lot. Yeah, this is quite a bit of dye. But the crazy thing is that we have leftover. Look, we have like a few more stuff worth of corn flour, and then back at the starter base, we got a bunch more green dye and all of that. So it's kind of bizarre how much stuff we got. It was very successful. Anyways, now that we have all of the dye that we need, and we have basically all of the materials, one of the things that we need to do is oxidize all of this copper that we have. So to do that, we're going to have to put it in a giant field of just copper. Now it has to be like separated by like 4 blocks, but I think this episode has been really progress updatey, so I think what we should do is a little bit of a time lapse. Yeah, I think that would be good. Alright, I'm gonna get all of these blocks of copper. Hold on. I'm gonna get all of these blocks of copper, and I'm gonna head over, find a field, and let's hop into the time lapse. Okay, after the time lapse, we have placed all of the copper blocks that we need to in the copper fields. And since it's slightly leaking into this mega base property, it is technically our property, and if anyone breaks it, then they are subject to the law, which is good. But as you can see, a lot of these are already oxidizing, which is very, very good. That's what we want. I have never exactly wanted copper to oxidize in my life, so that's kind of weird. This is a first time for me. But anyways, we have basically all the materials that we need for the underwater dimension, except for the quartz. And at the beginning of today's episode of Robincraft, we saw just how much quartz we need. So I guess we should just do a time lapse gathering some of the quartz that we need. This will be a record, actually. The first time that we've done 2 time lapses in one Robincraft episode, as well as the first time we've done a time lapse back to back. Huh. How about that? Okay. So I'm gonna hop back into the time lapse to get just a fraction of the quartz that we need for the underwater dimension. Okay, so in today's time-lapse chat, I wanted to talk a little bit about how the other robins are doing. So, in the episodes of Robincraft, I've mostly been with Max, but I wanted to talk about a little bit of the other robins and how they're doing. So, Owen, if you remember him, he joined a little bit ago. He has been the least active on the server, but he's still been on. He has diamond armor, but he just hasn't been on insanely that much. But Rafe, on the other hand, has been definitely online. He has created several farms, a world deleter in the nether, a world deleter in the overworld. He is absolutely stacked, and he has a bunch of other farms, and he has his nether mega base. He has a mega base in the nether, and it's like secret and whatnot. It's definitely not as big as ours, and like mine is a lot bigger than his, but it's still insane, and I might want to check that out later. I might show you in a future episode. But Jeffrey and Max, on the other hand, are starting to become less active because they both got a new game that they're like addicted to. So they'll still do Robincraft, obviously, but they'll just have another thing they're doing, and they will continue like they have, probably a little bit from now, they will do Robincraft a little bit more. That's what I'm hoping, at least. And also, the last thing I wanted to talk about is how the war is going. Because we've kind of taken a break from that, but you guys deserve to know what's going on. So, the war has basically, we haven't done anything insane, but we have, Jeffrey broke a law, and we have, we've banned him. We haven't banned him forever, but we're kicking him to see if there's no more criminal activity when he's gone. And we're going to reinvite him, but we just want to see if there's no more criminal activity when he's no longer on the server, and then we'll reinvite him. But anyways, that's it for the time-lapse chat. That's how all the Robincraft members are doing. I'm going to collab with them more in the future, besides Max, hopefully. But yeah. All right. that should be enough quartz in the time lapse, and let's hop back into the server. Okay, so now we have a bunch of quartz. We got 17 and a half stacks of quartz. So that mining session was decently successful. We've just made a lot of progress, even though it's not an insane amount of progress. We've just taken a step closer to our eventual goal of having enough quartz that we need for the underwater dimension. So, this is a good step in the process, but unfortunately, we got 17 and a half stacks of quartz, which is about an eighth of what we need. So, we're going to have to do a 1.5 hour mining session about 7 more times. Isn't that great? That's just great, isn't it? Yep. Anyways, hope you enjoyed today's episode of Robincraft. Sorry it was a little bit on the boring side, but it was just necessary to get all the resources that we need for the underwater dimension, because we made a huge amount of progress in today's episode. We built this kind of like makeshift super smelter as well. I forgot to mention that. And we also made the dye farm, which was pretty fun. And we got all the resources that we need for the underwater dimension, except for the quartz. But we have made a huge step in getting the amount of quartz that we need. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Robincraft. It was really fun to record, and I'm glad that we did it, and I'll see you all in next video here on the channel of Better Charge. Okay, see ya. Bye-bye.